Hi, welcome to episode 4. This is a much awaited podcast. I'm really looking forward to speaking to one of my dear friends. हम बचपन से एक ही साथ बड़े हुए एक ही साथ खेले हैं कूदे हैं we have done like a lot of things in life together and this gives me a chance to introduce to one of my best friends and he is none other than Adarsh
Hello, Vishwa.
Biswash. Hi Adarsh. It's been years that we actually know each other and we're connecting after a long time.
Yes, we our friendship runs more than 7 years, as we know.
It's been long that I've actually sat down and been speaking to you. How's it been? How's your life been?
Well, that thing like life's good right now, but I'm saying as time passes, we do realize one thing that the friends that we made in life, there was a time if you remember, we used to say chat for hours. We had nothing, we had no worries in the world, but those things they eventually tend to end that way. But yes, the relationship evolves, and as I can say, like after so many years, I can say like you're still one of my bestest friends that I've ever met. And the one thing I can rely upon you, like when I say you are my best friend, I know I you have my back when it's required. So that's what I think is much more important than just dropping a text every day by saying, yeah, hi bro, क्या चल रहा है तेरे life में?
Thanks man, it means a lot. I think आज के डेट में ये चीज़ बहुत रेयर है जहाँ पे somebody really comes up to you and asks why. like, तू कैसा है and you really understand कि वो genuinity है ना, वो
हाँ.
concern, वो thought कि तू क्या कर रहा है कैसा है.
So over the years, I made many friends. Right now, like when I was in college, there were n number of people I used to know. But at the end of initially that was fun because I used to think like, yeah, I'm going to get so many friends. But eventually we tend to learn that not everybody is worth your time, and you cannot give say differentiate between the people you want to keep and the people you are just hanging out there for some time. So for me, obviously this did go blur, but yeah, eventually it turned out right. I found out that I should give importance to people who feel you're important to them, who give two bits about how your life's going, instead of people just for when you're in college you want to be famous, right? That tag that you are famous in your college, that's big, right? So yeah, but at the end of the day you realize that that is not the ultimate goal to go to any institution to like 10 people would know me. It's like after you've achieved something, after you become something, that day you can you don't have to tell that 10 people know you, 10 people will know you. So yeah, but these times that we grow up, though we are I was like everybody is young in the college times, but once you like that age hits you, many things that we used to think as children that we wouldn't do, or this is uncool for some reason, that does change, and you really realize that those stupid boring things that adults do, that really matter.
Well, I understand that it feels like there are already a lot of layers that we are trying to undercover and
Yeah.
uncover and then talk about it. So just to give the viewers a perspective, let's talk about our childhood and how did we actually come together and how we spent time during those days. It was probably 2008, 9.
Yeah.
Those were the days when we first met, है ना? और हम क्रिकेट कैसे खेलते थे?
So yes, now this story goes back. I have to give some details as to what happened and how this friendship came to exist.
Existence.
Because like when I was in my like before the plus two 11 12, when I was in that doing like I was studying for my 10th. So I did have a huge group of friends, like not a huge group, but there was a group of friends, a close circle, a circuit who would stay together. We did many things. I do remember at the when I was in class 4, one of my friends, he suggested that we go try some cigarette, and that was the first time I ever smoked.
Class 4.
Class 4. Right now, I'm saying like that was an experiment.
Right, right.
Though after that, we did not, obviously at class 4, we didn't have the guts to smoke anyway. Like nowadays at this age, we do so. But yeah, so this is one example of the group I had. So eventually, as I grew up, one day I had to get separated from my group, and the separation happened because we had to leave our house. The owner, he wanted to build a new building where we used to stay. So we shifted our house and we shifted to Harishabad, that is in Laban. So I was playing cricket with the friends I had made in Harishabad. So one fine day, I see this weird looking boy going, he was wearing all orange, and I remember he had that orange stupid hat. I still remember that, bro. So you wore that hat, and yeah, you came and asked me some very irritating question. People were like, who is this guy? And all of us, we started bitching about you. All right. Few of them, they were like, yeah, like, as kids, we say like, he has come to our area and he might be a threat, we'll give him a bashing. So they were up to that, though eventually we did play cricket.
And who nailed you down with the ball?
You were very good at bowling, though, that talent you had. But we did like, our friendship, it did start out with this, बोलते हैं ना, स्वार्थ था हमारे एक दोस्ती का बनाने का, एक कारण था उस टाइम पे कि हमें जो लड़की पसंद थी उससे उसके साथ तो तुम थे.
Alright, thank you for exposing me.
हाँ.
बड़ा अच्छा.
उसके साथ तो तुम्हारी दोस्ती थी, तुम उनको दीदी बोलते थे. So what happened that eventually I went there to like, इसको दोस्त बनाते, इसके थ्रू, मतलब उसके साथ कुछ हुआ तो हुआ नहीं, लेकिन उसके थ्रू उसके साथ कुछ होगा. बट at the end of the day, I was stuck with you, and I don't regret my decision because, bro, like, yeah, but we did grow a huge bond, like, over the years.
See, I don't know about the orange cap thing. I don't exactly remember, but I think that did the job. It had to pull some attention, and I was actually pretty good at pulling attention. I always got the
Yeah,
attention I demanded
like,
for. Yeah.
yeah, and suddenly when you came into the group, the other people, they got really jealous. Like, अब तो यार Adarsh, he doesn't come to us. He only talks to this guy. But that's what happens, right? I had spent years with the other people, so finding someone new to talk to, a new perspective, because you did come from Edmonds, and I was from Peters, and we all know that there was this small rivalry that we had, right? All students, Edmonds and
Students rival,
yeah,
school.
school rivalry as to like which is the better school. During our times, I have no idea as to what's happening nowadays. I think,
Does it even exist?
yeah,
Yeah, I
the
guess, yeah,
the
they do.
the education right now, I do not quite understand. I've heard that it's not that proper in any schools right now, and recently even
I think Edmonds is doing pretty well. Edmonds is
yeah.
ranked. It's ranking on the
No,
top 10
Edmonds,
schools of India, all over India. So
yeah, Edmonds was actually a good school. It is not just because of the infrastructure, but the man behind it, the person who just passed away,
no,
Doctor Brother
Brother
D'Souza.
D'Souza.
Yeah,
It
may
was
his
just not the man
rest in peace.
behind Edmonds, but I think he was among. He's like the pillars.
Yeah, because the foundation was that strong. When I in our school though, I do not say the foundation was not strong. As to, it was started by someone from Ireland. I do not really know his name. All we knew him as was Uncle Sir. We saw his photos, and there was a vintage car that we had. So he started the school, but yeah, eventually the school did lose its way, and right now, like, my school is in very bad condition.
No, Brother D'Souza came in at a very later stage. Our school was actually conceptualized like a long time ago. I think 1911 was the first year of schooling that officially they started off with the school, but I think there were like a lot of paperwork and stuff started from 1800 and 18 something, 1890s and stuff like that. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, I don't quite know the real history as to what Edmonds was, but there was always a name. So the school level I was talking about was not with Edmonds, just Edmonds, but there was this inside thing that people from my school or other schools did not want to mix up with the other school children. But since when you came into our group, things changed because then my friends who were from Peters would always say that Edmonds people are over smart, and you know that was a vice versa for everybody, bro. Everybody, even any Anthonian would say, yeah, these guys are over smart. We are the ones who are actually doing the studying. So that did give me a chance to come out of my comfort zone. I do not know how much you can recall, but do you remember we used to have those small debates?
Yeah, yeah. We always
Dude, we
had debates,
used to be
man.
like, we used to go at it. Like we used to talk about it for hours. Like the one thing that I found with you, I did not find with anybody was that nobody could take an argument. But we did take an argument, and there was never like, at least for those arguments, I don't remember like we getting into any like
Whereas I let
serious.
you win, dude.
Oh, okay, you wish,
Yeah.
bro.
Thank you. That makes a statement in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is something that these people hardly do. They hardly get into any such discussion. That's what I'm assuming at this moment. Because
Yes.
everybody is caught up with their own cell phone. I even look into a family. They're all sitting in the same place, but they all have their cell phones and they're wondering about themselves in that small little nutshell that they
Yeah,
have.
this does bring up that whole problem that is going right now. Now I do not really know what this problem is, but do you remember during our time we had those black and white mobiles,
Yes.
but our entire attention was not dependent on that phone,
Correct, correct.
and even and you knew that I already had that touchscreen mobile. Remember?
वो Symbian 60 cell phones है
Symbian 60
Nokia का
cell phones
I still
from
remember वो
Nokia.
हाँ
Yeah.
तो ये this guy was a gadget freak
Yeah.
from a very early age और in fact शिलोंग में probably जब इंटरनेट नया ही था हमारे लिए
हाँ.
राइट तो I still remember कि हम लोग यहाँ पे इंटरनेट कैफेज हुआ करता था
And we used to go
remember
there. Yeah.
और सिनेमा का पूरा भंडार रहता था इसके पास पता नहीं you had a broadband connection probably for your
No, no, no. This is obviously collected from many sources, many
कैसे
places.
करके करता था मेरे को
So
एग्जैक्टली
that's
याद नहीं है बट ये था दिस वाज द गाय हु वाज द मतलब आईटी बंदा था ये हमारा हमारा एटलीस्ट हमारा छोटा सा ग्रुप का आईटी बंदा था इसके पास सब होता था मतलब सब
yeah. So that's what it. So during those years, you remember, right? We used to spend hours, only me and you. But right now, everybody has this FOMO that if they are not speaking to at least three people like for a day, and I'm not giving you any exact number, but I do feel like the youth nowadays is suffering from FOMO. We did understand, we knew the concept of FOMO when we were younger, you and I, but right now we can like actually observe that people are suffering from FOMO. Okay, they are not happy with that one friend, one person saying I'm again, this would be a very generalizing
statement
statement, but I'm just putting in like a fallacy as to what I have observed, and I do not say 100% of the people are like that, but people do tend to forget that matlab, that present moment that we have, that we are sharing, and every person that comes to your life is important. Like obviously, as I grew up, I learned many things. Okay, I'll try to cover a few parts of my life as to how hard it was, and then there was a whole other problem that I had to face with some mental health issue I had to go through. You were there throughout the journey, so I'll try to share that. But before that, I really want to pinpoint this one phenomenon that children at the age of 10, 12 want to get famous on the internet. They think they will earn money, but is it possible? Like, I do not know if this is a very. I'll put in the example of Bhagavad Gita. So when Krishna he explained the whole Gita to Arjuna before when he stopped the war for a minute and he
no
expressed the whole Gita to him. Uh, the thing was, Vishnu, like Krishna was Vishnu, and Krishna knew that he would have to tell him that he is Vishnu. But as you can see, he never started off saying that I am Vishnu. He did ask him Arjun was confused as to whether he should fight with his brothers, and he was giving Krishna the reason that these are my people. So instead of killing them, I should take a life of solace or solitude, and no matter what happens, what people call me, at least I won't be part of killing my own kin. So that's where he starts. So now Krishna starts very slowly. Like this is like he does it in one go, but obviously every knowledge and everything has a time, has an age. Now a 13-year-old would not understand the problems of the internet.
Correct.
Uh, Around 10 years back, I myself used to get offended when people used to speak about girls' clothes. But you get it, right? At the end of the day, the clothes are getting skimpier. I'm not even that would be a general statement, but yeah, you get it, right? Like at the end of the day, a 13-year-old doing moves that matlab, he,
I get it. I mean,
he yeah,
what you're trying
put
to
forward.
put forward, I think, is a little. I wouldn't really call it controversial, but it's there's a very thin line.
Yeah, as to
What?
how.
Yeah, I mean, how you're perceiving it. I'm not
Yes.
saying ki there's anything wrong with the kind of thoughts, because I think it's a very noble way of putting it forward. But when you're simply stunting, so that and depicting and showing your body
Uh,
just to garner some attention,
yeah,
I think
that's what gets to me.
that is again soft line, that actually is a little
Gray
soft
area, you can call it a
line
gray area.
pornographic
Approach.
depiction or approach to it. Now we'll again have a lot of backslash to
Yes.
try and understand ki their body, their right. I get it, but yeah, it is actually a
This
subject of
does bring, yeah,
discussion.
and it is not just this observation. I have seen people wanting to get famous through videos that do not even make sense.
Ah, but again,
Yeah.
there's a very interesting observation. If see, being famous comes in with a price.
Yes, it does.
So what happens is, when everybody tries to become a public figure, you need to realize that you'd always be under the scanner.
Yeah.
People would always be
Judge you for
behind
everything you
you.
do.
And exactly, and that's the reason why a lot of celebrities try to keep their personal life off the camera. Look at what recently happened with Deepika Padukone. Her
All right.
entire pregnancy was, there were people claiming it to be false or fake. And then this Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli's बच्चा जो भी उनका नाम है, मैं सेलिब्रिटी लाइफ से मेरे को इतना
Okay.
दिलचस्पी है
Me too,
नहीं,
I'm not following.
बट उनका बच्चा का आँख टेढ़ा है, वो दिखाता क्यों नहीं. Imagine the kind of mental trauma that the parent will have to, at least the parent will go through जब उनका मतलब they are commenting कि आपका बेटा तो आँख टेढ़ा है या थोड़ा पागल है क्या. आई थिंक दैट्स जो बच्चा अपीयर कर रहा है, इट्स जस्ट अ नॉर्मल किड या डूइंग इट्स ओन थिंग.
Yeah, which brings the comparison as to when we were growing up, and suddenly some uncle, he comes to your house and he tells your father like your son, like you हम बंगाली तो बंगाली में तुम्हारे चले गए तो हमें अमुक जगह देखिए अमुक करते, basically he would come, your son was doing this thing at some place. Now that kind of attention that we used to get, that attention is good attention because somebody is coming and showing his concern for me. But the kind of attention people are trying to garner here, and
Problematic है,
yeah,
हाँ,
because right now I should not, like, I wouldn't take anybody's name, but there are many influencers who are just trying to make videos by dancing in front of the camera wearing a bikini or something very revealing, and even men trying to act cool by becoming internet gangsters. Have you heard of the term called the internet gangster?
Not really.
Well, it is something to define someone who wants to be like a wannabe. All right, and right now I can see as to after the social media boom of 2000 whatever, which year did Jio come out?
2016.
2016.
Say 2016, 17, yeah.
Yes, so all this has brought about a very vast change as to people's mental health are getting affected.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can talk like I have met many of my friends, like I can like friends, obviously they were acquaintances, but they are going through this midlife crisis as to, brother, I have to make it somehow through YouTube. Okay, now 10 years back, nothing was there. We were using the old Samsung Galaxy S3s. iPhones were cheaper.
अरे 1 GB का इंटरनेट डेटा पैक निकलता था, कितना था
Yeah, we
वो?
used to,
249 का,
yeah,
रिमेम्बर?
for
और
a
एक
month,
महीना चलना था उसको.
for a month. So things were much different. So those when I was in Pune, I wanted to, like, I myself, I am a singer, as you know. So I also wanted to do something with singing, but I didn't have that leverage of like just putting 10 songs on YouTube and hundreds of people will listen, because there was at that time nobody was actually looking at into YouTube or anything, because 1 GB internet pack and nobody really had a smartphone during those times. So things were harder, but what did we do? We used to go and practice, me and one of my friend from Pune. So we used to go and practice. Okay, I'm avoiding taking names. I do not know if it's required. If something slips out, you please hopefully edit that. So we used to go and practice, and then we used to go for those college fests that used to take place in Pune. Now that is one way of doing it, because now I'm also learning, I'm also performing. That stage fright that I used to have when I was younger, that did go away eventually. I could just go up on stage, talk to people, address them. Now doing that with just a camera, I know I can say hello dosto and everything, and that, and this it's very, this thing is, it is like come to a point, this thing, that hello dosto, like everybody you're considering as your friends, and then you get that notion that if they do not approve of me, my life is worth nothing. Okay,
That's a very big statement.
yeah. So this problem comes, this expectation, but हमारे टाइम पे यार हम वैसा एक्सपेक्ट करते नहीं थे. हमको यही लगता था कि भाई देखो, मैं जो हूँ मुझे कोई ज़्यादा सीरियसली लेगा नहीं. अभी मैं 21 साल का हूँ या 20 साल का हूँ, इतना कोई सीरियसली लेता नहीं है. बट या आई विल वर्क ऑन माई क्राफ्ट. Recently this famous rapper Hani Singh, you know, he went through a huge mental health problem, and right now his songs are coming back. But the thing is, that person, he obviously gave his time to his craft, right, afterwards. Because now the songs that he's writing, a few three songs I liked. Before that he was doing very, I don't know, mediocre shit. But right now he is coming back. So that is what nobody gives time to the craft. So let's get out of the artistic perspective of it.
But before we actually get out of it, I'd like to add on a point.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Because we just spoke about soft porn,
Yeah.
and how we kind of feel that the way a few individuals actually behave on the internet does not justify a lot of things. But I'd also like to state that I know the statistics, and I'm very concerned about it. I am a flag bearer of feminism per se.
Okay.
I know 33,707 rapes occurred in 2013. Those are NCRB data. Implies every 20 minutes a girl in India is being raped.
All right.
Right? 2024, right? Statistics are no better. Now every 17 minutes a girl is being raped. There are only 2-3 cases that are being highlighted, and we forget about everything else. ठीक है? ये ऐसे ही चला हुआ आ रहा है.
That's kind of sad though. That's kind of sad.
Absolutely, it is sad.
It's sad.
हम ये नहीं कह
Saddening,
रहे,
yeah,
हम ये नहीं कह रहे कि आप प्रोवोकेट कर रहे हो तो आपका रेप हो रहा है. गलत बात है. It is sad that there rapes are happening. It is sad that men rape
Yeah.
people or rape girls basically. Vice versa भी होता है. Again, nobody talks on that. However, मुझे लगता है कि we should actually talk to boys about how you treat women, correct, and
Yeah,
how you deal with them.
yeah, exactly
And
my point. I want to make a point here. Sorry for cutting you short. So the thing comes that now let's get out of the internet part and let's get into this men raping women in our country, and this being a huge issue because according to the statistics, what is it, 17 girls being raped every day? That's a huge number.
every hour.
Every year, that's a huge number, my friend. So the
Oh, sorry. Every 20 minutes, a girl, yes, every 17 minutes a girl in India is being
All
raped.
right,
Every 17 minutes, एक एक लड़की का रेप हो रहा है.
now, though these things have been spoken out of, or people have been very uh, forthcoming about what is happening in India right now, or the status with rape and the whole woke society coming in, and yes, the demand for sex education increasing because it has come to the like the word sex education, it has become a very popular known word from pop culture nowadays. They do use it. They say like people do need sex education, but one thing, as I have learned, and I am not an expert of everything, I'm not a very big philosopher or guide, but though I do have a philosophy that sex education, have you seen the movie Oh My God 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know about the part when the whole courtroom drama takes
Right,
place, and
right.
the other lawyer, the negative lawyer here, who was done, which was done by Yami Gautam. She asked a question that how do we
The
teach?
defendant, right?
Yeah, yeah. How do we teach sex education? That is what the other lawyer asked, the bad lawyer. The good lawyer, obviously, there was no good lawyer, he was the hero.
Yeah, the defendant and the compliant.
Yeah. So that question does arise as to what is sex education and what do we educate people about. Now, prior to 2016-17, the whole gay right activism or the Pride Month, everything, it got a very big boost, and it spread like fire, and many people came out, even big celebrities, they came out with what they used to feel. Now, sex education in turn, that in that context, does mean that you have to educate a person about his sex. Now, we are men, we are entitled to being given, like एक लड़का अगर सोचो 17-16 साल के उम्र में सिगरेट पी रहा है, तो he is excused. Okay, he is excused. Yeah, he would be warned, he would be pursued by his parents as to say कि you please leave this, but he will be excused. Now, putting a girl in that place, things would change. Even the boys of that age would say you shouldn't smoke, right? So we are entitled to a few things, men. Now, if we are entitled, if our parents or the society as a whole is not equipped or is not telling me that you are actually entitled to a lot of things, but there are few things you cannot cross, a few lines you cannot cross, and those lines include touching a woman appropriately,
Inappropriately.
yeah, inappropriately, मतलब irritating her in ways as to following them and eve teasing,
I
all
get
those
it.
things.
I mean,
Yeah, that now, if a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old wouldn't understand the difference between eve teasing or doing anything, because if a 6-year-old is pulling some girl's choti, it is
but I think
acceptable,
I think it needs to be taught from a very early age. And
Yeah, that's what, at the grassroots level.
They need to be taught about good touch, bad touch. We should not alienate both the genders.
Yes.
I mean, both the sexes or genders. Let's talk. I mean, getting mugged
Right,
by
right,
all
gender
that gender
spectrum, yeah.
politics. Yeah. So I think we should not alienate each other. They should know about their biology, their biological differences.
Yes.
And we need to make them, treat each other like human beings. They're not aliens. Nobody is.
And yes, that's what I want to say, that at the end of the day, it may sound like hard, first of all, and it may sound very I'm not getting the words, illogical, but yes, you have to teach a child about sex, but you do not have to actually teach him as to how intercourse is done. how to conduct yourself.
Absolutely.
That's
I
important.
think again, on your earlier statement,
Yeah.
remember when you said, right? I mean, we are entitled to smoking. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I can't really deny that fact either, because socially
People
people
do tend to accept.
accept that, and I think it takes a lot of courage to basically accept that socially you will still be excused,
Yes.
at least
Yeah. You
in
will
this
be
part of the
accepted.
country,
Yeah.
and it takes a
This,
lot of courage to actually admit that.
yeah.
But I think this is happening.
Yeah.
And I also say that there's nothing wrong when a woman smokes. However, biologically there are different issues.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should not smoke or you should smoke. That's
Yeah.
your choice. Do
That's
whatever
your
you
choice,
want
yeah.
to. But
That's
smoking
completely
is
what you want to.
actually smoking is injurious to your health, both for men and women.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't want to screw up my lungs for that. And apparently, a lot of studies show that it has adverse effects on your
Immune system.
yeah, and other things which we would not talk on, because the podcast would otherwise go long for
Very, very
hours
long.
and hours, right?
So obviously now as we have picked up the topic of addiction, we can start with that also. Now,
No, I think it's not about since we picked up. I
Yeah.
think the major point of the conversation is actually addiction.
Addiction today.
And addiction is just not about smoking a cigarette or drinking. Addiction can also be
Be many
correlated to your cell phone. People are addicted to their cell phones. They
Exactly.
need it. And when I don't know about you, but I know like a lot of people, and apparently this has also happened with me. What happens is, even when I go to the washroom, I need the cell phone so that I can actually do a very
find out if somebody said something to in my picture.
no, not really, but I just want to have a quick scroll through all of the reels. I think
Okay.
that gives me a quick hit of dopamine. एक के बाद एक देखता है, and I keep wanting more.
So now when coming to this topic of addiction, which apparently was our main topic of discussion today. First of all, I should give you the exact definition as to what WHO has stated at the year 1948 or around that.
Okay, before we get there, tell me how, why do you, or when was the first time that you actually understood that addiction is actually a pain point and a thing to be concerned about?
Well, the thing is, I have now this does go back to my childhood. My parents, my father used to drink at a limited amount. My mom, she would drink at parties. My father smokes on a regular basis. I smoke on a regular basis. My mother obviously doesn't smoke on a regular basis, but she does so. My family was always a very open-minded family. I really never had to explain to my mother why my girlfriend, as in not my girlfriend,
Yeah,
but
I get
a
it.
girlfriend has come to my house. I never really needed to explain it to her. Even in your case, I've seen that your parents are quite cool about many things. Uh, Growing up, according to me, what was addiction? Now, I understood one thing that many people do addiction. Okay, and this I understood as a child, that many people do addiction.
I would again cut you. I'm sorry. I think many people indulge in something which gives them
Pleasure.
momentary pleasure.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So many people indulge into addiction. Now, in layman's term, addiction means basically consuming anything which gives you a dopamine hit, consuming it, and ruins your body. Okay, so when you are addicted to something like that, that does become a problem. Now, as a child, I used to like theorize, because as children, all we had were theories as to how things work out. So I used to know people who were addicts. Now, what was the difference between them and my father drinking? The thing was, first of all, I myself, like, I did not see my father do it every day in front of me. Rather, he had his own time at an appropriate time used to sit with his friends, and when my the business that we are running, when it got established, so my father had that lavish time. Now I can live. And so he used to get that one time he would sit, drink a little, eat his food, and go to sleep. But then there were people who would wake up in the morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning. They would walk all the way to the bhatti, and they
What
would.
is a bhatti?
Now bhatti is okay, sharab bhatti. Okay, so
Right.
where
Right.
refineries or जो भी बोलते हैं, so refinery बोलते हैं ना इंग्लिश
पता
में.
नहीं मेरे को, हाँ.
हाँ, तो दारू की भट्टी. So they go to the bhatti and they stand there. If they are half an hour early, they will stand for half an hour. If they are 2 minutes late, they are restless. So they want that first hit in the morning when they wake up. Okay, and that's how they start. Now, this is what I used to understand when I was young, and this is very layman. When I slowly grew up, this habit of my smoking, I understood it is injurious to me, but there was this whole angle to it as to right now, when I buy a piece of cigarette or a packet of cigarette, it is the money that my father has given to me for working in the business. It is not from the money that I asked my father कि बाबा 500 टाका दो और पिताजी 500 रुपए दीजिए. That's not the case here. So now I've earned it. So that was my way of dealing with it, as to when I earn it, that day people will not say much.
Okay.
Now, I understood that addiction. Now let's get into the broader term, that addiction in itself is not limited to only substances. There are many kinds of addiction. Did you know there was people addiction? There's something called people addiction.
Yeah, what is that?
Now, people are addicted to other people's opinions. People are addicted to other people's मतलब उसको क्या बोलते हैं यार, वो जो दे देता ना आपकी सिग्नल, हाँ भाई तू ही है, कि तू ही सही है, तू एक नंबर है. बोलो ना acknowledgement.
To hype somebody up.
To hype somebody up, to give that acknowledgement. So people get addicted to those things. Okay.
When dopamine hit
They get that
every time
dopamine
जब
hit.
सुनता है तुम कि हाँ you're
Yeah,
good bro.
they get this dopamine hit from now. These people get egoistic also, because they get that dopamine hit from that when people are praising them. You must think this is attention seeking, but this is not just attention seeking, right? You are basically making your world around people's opinions of you, instead of making opinions about your opinions yourself about the world. Now see, great thinkers, great minds, many have changed people's perspective. Many great minds have come, and the one thing common in these people was that they had their own opinion. They did not depend on somebody else's opinion as to what his life is.
Okay.
So
where are you getting to with this?
No, this is people's addiction. I'm just saying that people are addicted to that. Also, there is this addiction of sex is also
बहुत जनों को होता है वो collect,
right now there is a new addiction that has been introduced, that is this mobile addiction. It is considered a serious addiction right now. So in China they have already taken countermeasures. India में तो देखो घुमा फिरा के वही बात होता है कि there is this whole thing about, now again this will be overstatement, I apologize if it hurts anybody, but in India till date this thing is that anybody under 18 or 20 can be slapped. Right? We do have that thing. We Indians, as growing up, we do understand that to discipline someone, we do need to, put a slap. But now that also has comes with many variations, as to some people do it very extreme. Okay, I had a very dear friend of mine. Growing up, if he watches this, I think he'll understand. But I'm not disclosing anybody's name. So his mother was very hard on him. At the end of the day, he did become rebellious. I was a kid then, I did not understand, but now when I look back into what he used to do, and those actions were not like he would bully someone or he would harm himself. Okay, one day he comes to school and he shows me a black spot right here. And I'm like, okay, you got hurt or what? Somebody hit you? And no, I put a can of body odor. I took a can of body odor and I sprayed it right here, and I kept spraying until it got black. this is body language. From here I can learn that this guy is going through something that he can't, matlab, now when I look at it, at that time I didn't understand, but this guy is going through something like he disagrees with the ways of the world, like the disciplines that are being put on him. And obviously eventually I found out that yeah, there was a problem at home, and that was over strictness. Okay, so people do tend to get addicted to that also. People
to what?
that
Somebody being
you know overprotective, that is a kind of addiction, right? Like you need to know
who is getting addicted?
the parent,
yeah.
the parent is trying to know every move as to what the child is doing. If you do not give him spaces, if you do not allow him to fall. Now I do understand my parents, your parents, or all the parents that I met throughout my life. Everybody wants us to succeed, but they do not want us to fall. But they do not understand, if we do not fall, when will we learn how to pick ourselves up? Okay, I know you had many incidents in your life that changed your
kind of
perspective.
person I am.
Yes, many incidents in my life, and since I fell, now I know how to pick up myself. Right now, I'm quite confident as to what can I do with my life. I myself, you know about my addiction problem, but I already have said that I had a mental health issue problem. So I myself used to go through these intense phases of delusion, and I was depressed. So right now, coming to this point, to being confident as to I can take care of myself, and if somebody comes in my life, I can take care of her too. That takes time, and I myself was addicted to that, and my addiction was self-pity. Basically, that's what I feel. I used to pity myself a lot, as to I couldn't complete my task, I couldn't become what I sought out to become, I couldn't finish the college that I had. So there are many regrets.
I think that is more of ego that you're talking about.
Yeah, ego,
Don't
but
you think
it is
it's
addictive. No,
yes, exactly. It is addictive. Ego is very addictive.
Yes,
like
after
I
a
could
point,
not do that. So like
you simply simp with yourself. You simply say कि यार,
you simply sympathize with yourself is what he means. A very modern simp. Yeah.
and now this is one kind of addiction. Now let's get into the orthodox addiction thing. Now a person using a substance is not the problem here. You as very well know, I was in a NGO working for a year, so I understood this one basic difference between that person who was trapped in that place and the person who's outside smoking and drinking away with his friends. Now the problem here is not about your drinking. Okay, and in today's world, even girls are allowed to drink. So you understand, the problem is not that you're drinking or you're smoking. We used to get those cartoons when we were small.
I think I again have an issue with the statement or the words that are being used. I think girls being allowed, I think girls are more accepted, socially accepted.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, I correct myself. I'm really sorry. Even girls
socially accepted.
Yeah,
too.
it is socially accepted that even girls drink nowadays for India, because there was a time it was a huge stigma. So I'm sorry for the statement. So moving forward, now this person who's trapped here is specifically trying to sabotage, destroy his life. He's trying to bring himself to a point of no return. In addiction, or in the anonymous world, this is called rock bottom. Alright, so this person is trying to hit rock bottom with his life. He is sympathetic towards himself. He's just trying to be he's sympathizing with himself. Bro, this is my problem. Now there are a few cases that are actually addiction, and there's not much emotion involved, but you will see at the end of the day there's some underlying cause of this addiction coming forth, and now that becomes addiction. And the other person doing the party I was speaking about, who's outside not getting caught, he is also an addict. Now any person going through addiction, or taking any kind of substance to find that pleasure for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, fails to understand one thing, that life is not even. Right? Right now, at present, by God's grace, I am not that depressed, or my life's going quite well. But there will come a time when things will be hard, right? I will get some pressure, and at that time, if I think ki right now what I should do is to go and get a drink or smoke some
Correct.
marijuana or cigarettes, at that moment it is not a solution.
Correct.
So many people fall prey to this problem, and then this hard drugs. When people get addicted to that, their problem is the leverage they have is that the high they get is beyond anything else. Okay, injecting drugs into your body, that gives you the high that is beyond anything else. So for them, everything else, it loses value. Okay, I've seen people ruining homes when it comes to addiction. Now, I did not give the formal definition as to what addiction is. When you yourself, when you look at it, or whoever is looking, when they speak about addiction or think about it, there is a very blurred line between like what you are actually doing and what is addiction. Because somebody is an addict, he smokes, he drinks, but he is not being caught and put into the institution. Okay, the person who's coming there has a specific problem, and the addiction is making it worse. Okay, it is not the substance. The problem is he's going through some problem. During my 1 year, I met this person.
I think again, I'm sorry, I'm cutting
Yes,
you off. I think again, since you have worked with such cases very closely, is the reason why you understand that it is not the substance, but the addiction or the issue that is the underlying issue with the underlying issue that the person is dealing with.
Yeah,
That is the problem, not the substance.
Yeah, and he's destroying his life.
But yeah, but for people who are not really from this particular field, it'll be very difficult for them to actually differentiate what we are trying to put here.
That's right. There's a very blurred line. You will never understand, like, this one person you see is smoking. According to a like layman or a normal person, he is an addict. The person who is drinking tea 10 times a day is an addict. No, these people, you cannot consider them as that
Category.
orthodox addict, because these people are not sabotaging their life right now. Now this person is hell bent into destroying everything about himself. Okay, be it stealing from his home, beating mothers, and we all know, like, our DNA is programmed not to hit our parents. Like, that is a natural response when a parent, even if he is weak and feeble, like even my father right now, he is bedridden, but when he gets angry and he shouts at me, I still do get
Calm
scared.
down, I get it.
So this barrier, breaking that barrier, so that's not natural, right? And that is when he's doing it under the influence. Now the problem is, this person, when you tell him not to smoke, he will smoke one joint or he will inject one time. What will happen after that? 5 minutes later, he'll start doing it again, just because he's mad at you. Okay, he doesn't even know that, but he's mad at you and he'll still do it. A person who's stable and there's no underlying reason or whatever, he's dealt with his problem, so he keeps his conscience clean. If he is doing it and you ask him, bro, we had like already 5-6 glass हम दारू पी चुके हैं, छोड़ यार आज के लिए, ठीक है, and 5-6 glasses I'm taking more. This person, if you give him one peg also, na, he will drink one peg only. Okay, he's not there to have drinks. He's there to spend quality time with people. And that is why I was discussing this whole phenomenon as to what FOMO was, as to social media and everything that came to know. It said that people are going through FOMO. So people are not giving time to the people with them, because they know, like, this person is my friend, he's my well-wisher, but from him उससे कुछ मेरे को फायदा नहीं मिल रहा है, ऐसा मैं फेमस नहीं हो रही, 10 लोग मेरे को जान नहीं रहे. So ये भी, like, now this kind of approach towards life will lead to a destructive pattern, right? Eventually they also will go to a self-destructing pattern. Why do you say, why will they hit rock bottom? Because problems in lives will come, my friend. Okay, we are bound to lose people that are close to us. We are bound to lose jobs. We are bound to lose fortunes. Okay, that is how life is. It is not meant to be perfect. Today I have 10 crore rupees. 10 days later, that 10 crore will go down the gutter. Okay, that 10 crore was only for today. 10 days later, I have to do something. Now, this fighter spirit, many people they tend to mix it up as to being stubborn. Okay, rebellious nature, everything. Though people make it sound cool that be rebellious. वो बागी पिक्चर देखी थी ना तुमने? बागी में वो बोलता है ना कि be a rebel.
मैंने वो नहीं देखा.
There was a dialogue. I have seen the movie. Okay, I wasted my time. You are smart enough. You watch movies like Rockstar. But this person, he says ki be a rebel. So that rebellious nature as to this, whatever this person is saying the correct things, but I do not want to listen to him right now because I know more. But that is not the underlying issue. But yeah, he's very people become arrogant. I was also I did point out this earlier because during our childhood things were less. Now because of the exposure, kids know that they can afford a Lamborghini. And their life is built around such,
Pleasures. Well, but again,
Okay.
I think the discussion is around addiction, and it will be very difficult for people to actually fathom a lot of subdivision of the entire topic into different fragments.
Yes.
Okay?
For that,
For me, I think it's very important to be specific about a particular segment and clear that first before we move on to.
So, according to me, now, before I'll answer one of your questions that you asked, you said, what is addiction according to me? See, according to me, when I took addiction or when I was when I get involved on those parties where people are boozing and fagging, for me it is romance. Now you must be thinking, what's so romantic about drinking a beer with your friend? Well, basically, romance is not limited to just lover ka pyar. Romance is basically that time when you get nostalgia. Okay, today we aren't discussing our old stories, but generally we do. You know that, right? And that gives me nostalgia, right? So this addiction also gives me kind of nostalgia. But for some people, addiction is something like this whole cool thing. Now I know people will disagree, but it is the real point that people consider it cool.
Boys, more specifically, it's very.
You've seen the movie Kabir Singh, right? You've seen the way he smokes, and that
and drinks.
and drinks. No. I'm not talking about the part where he goes haywires and hits rock bottom.
Right.
I'm talking about the part when he
was
sits in the
even
college.
drunk when he was operating. He was on the operation table.
Initially, when he comes and he catches two boys, from whom he takes out information as to who touched Preeti. And if you don't remember, in that scene, he puts the cigarette in his face and he does the action like this. Like he closes it and he's like lighting it like that. And that thing was very cool. Like I found it very cool. Okay. Now, if I was any younger when I saw Kabir Singh
doing that,
I would have.
इसमें एक चीज है ना. There are three elements of the world, right?
Yeah.
Fire, water, and earth.
Yeah.
है ना? So, you like, why is lighting that cigarette so masculine? Why is it so sexy? It's because you're controlling that one element, fire.
Yes.
Pocket में रख के तुम जब जला रहा है ना. Whenever movies have done that, and somehow I feel that media influences. It influences. I don't need to stand a statement here. There are theories on this, media influence theory and stuff like that. So it does influence. बहुत sexy.
In a very big way. Even in KGF, the part when he gets that gun hot and he lights the cigarette from his barrel. So I'm just saying it was sexy. I might have gone out for a fag after looking at that. I don't quite remember. But when it comes to kids watching these things, in America, like we did.
Addiction से भटक रहे लेकिन.
नहीं. I just
your story.
Trying to make a point. So in America, there's something called viewers' discretion. They say that like out loud viewers
यहाँ पे
discussion.
भी है, यहाँ पे भी हमारा certifications है.
Certification है, and
हाँ,
after
film
the
division.
after even if you haven't noticed, after the smoking causes cancer wala, you know, line that comes no whenever there's a smoking scene in your movie.
हाँ हाँ, आजकल लिखा हुआ भी आता है.
These scenes have increased over the time. These were not that
Not
common.
as common.
Yeah.
हाँ.
But now at least in every movie there is this scene. Okay, now let's get out of movies and I'll come back to addiction. For me, it's romance. For an addiction. First of all, this person, he does not understand what wrong he has done. Okay, for him, he has done nothing wrong. For him, he is doing exactly what everybody else is doing. And that's the kind of usual BS that comes up. It's very common.
The usual what?
Usual BS. The person when he comes.
Usual bias.
Okay. Bullshit.
Right. BS.
Yeah. So the usual BS is that this person, he comes into this institution, and the first question he asks is, मैंने क्या गलती की? तो we say like तुमने कोई गलती नहीं की है, you are addicted to this. So he's like, no, 10. This person, so he does. My relative, this relative, he also drinks. Like I'm doing this, that. I'm not specifying.
Achha, right. So everybody does that. Why on earth am I here?
Why on earth am
right.
I being punished?
Right,
What
right.
difference I have made? Now, for example, this person was at home. He was drinking his daily liquor. What he did was he went home. He was this kind of person is already drunk. He's already drunk even he goes home. He goes home, gets a quarter, sits in the table in front of his wife or his mother. Okay. Now, doing that, brother, even you know, I know it is impossible for us to take a bottle of wine and sit with your mother in the dining table, which goes against as to how Indians are raised. I'm not saying
हमारा family norms.
Yeah, this is called naitikta. So in moral grounds, this person goes wrong. Now, to explain to him that brother, what you just did with your mother was wrong, is tough, because now he will give you logically try to explain to you that this has happened because my mother allows, your mother does not allow, my mother allows. So there is always that comeback as to why should I leave addiction, why should I. So for him it becomes that, what have I done, what on earth have I done wrong that these people are talking to me. And many of them think that this is a punishment, as to you drink a lot, I'm punishing you, which then kills the motive of such institutions. Because if they think it's punishment, he will become rebellious. He will think like, 3-4 months I'm here, alright, after 3-4 months I'll start. मैं दिखाता हूँ. And this dialogue I've heard it many times. And he like I used to speak in Assamese, so he used to say, "Tok moi dekham, kiman moi kham, मैं गोई की नहीं खाम, मैं जाके ही पीऊंगा भाई, मैं जाके ही पीऊंगा, इस बार तो माँ को घर से निकाल दूंगा, ठीक है, पिताजी अपने को समझते क्या है, कॉलर पकड़ के निकाल दूंगा." So these are the claims he made. Obviously these claims are false, but this person will actually go out and drink and then blame the counselor who was trying to help him, that he has ruined my life now. Before this, it was under control. Now it's not under control. And now when this person needs help, now he realizes. So there I had learned that relapse is also a part of recovery. When you relapse, you tend to recover, but which is not good, because if you relapse, what's the point of going through with the whole thing again? Process. So, but according to him, he's doing nothing wrong. And then obviously the common dialogue comes कि गवर्नमेंट क्यों दारू बेच रहा है, या तुम्हारा सिगरेट क्यों बिक रहा है दुकान में, वो बंद करवाओ, हम छोड़ देंगे. ओके, नाउ द प्रॉब्लम हियर इज लाइक पीपल हु आर डूइंग इट एंड नॉट रुइनिंग देयर लाइव्स, वो लोग बदनाम हो जाते हैं. ठीक है, तो मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा कि मतलब आप सिगरेट बंद करवा दो, दारू बंद करवा दो, बट यार इससे गवर्नमेंट को रेवेन्यू मिलता है. इसको लीगलाइज करने का कोई कारण there are many reasons as to why this thing is legal. Okay, but for him I should stop. So now this person is giving excuses as to I will leave, but I will leave only when it is stopped. Okay, and also if we go to an earlier age, you and I, you heard our friends, right, who used to drink a lot, who used to drink more than what that age permitted us to do. And you remember what he used to say, right? These people used to say कि तुम लोग छोड़ दे हम छोड़ देगा सब साथ में छोड़ेगा भाई. Remember those big dialogues people used to say like we'll do it together. It never happens. Then this all whole myth about us to, if you want to fight addiction, you take this medicine, you take this chewing gum, you will stop smoking in 15-20 days. Those are bogus. Brother, there's only one way of fighting addiction and getting rid of it, and that is stopping eventually at one day.
I think that's your willpower.
That's your willpower, because if you do not have willpower, no amount of medicine or no amount of counseling is going to help you. Now, according to WHO, this addiction is a disease.
Before we get into WHO again, how do you know so much about addiction? What is your personal experience that you would like to share, which got you here,
Which got me here to the point as to
where
I
you understand addiction so well?
Okay. This is during those years only. I was there. I had mental health issues, so I was taking my health. I was taking help from them as well. So during those years, I also questioned. I also asked the same questions as to that addict. Which questions that addict would ask is that, why are you punishing me?
So you were addicted.
I was addicted, and also
What? Right. So what was the phase like? Give us a picture.
So the phase was basically dull. Waking up every morning, not going into the bathroom to have a brush. I basically used to wake up, get my substance, make it, and use it. Okay. I'm uncomfortable disclosing the name of the substance.
I get it.
So I used to do it, and then once I did it, I got the hit. I used to go and brush. Then obviously the morning routine takes place, the usual morning routine that everybody does. And after that, I used to roll one more, smoke it, get my breakfast, and after that, I used to smoke one more. So after that, between lunch and breakfast, there was a huge time that I was doing it. Now, when I got a hold over it, when I started control, when I'm in control of my life and everything, I understand one thing, that there is a certain way of doing some things. And it is also, now this is a very common term used for like with addicts and around them, abuse. You cannot abuse anything. Okay. There are many protocols. There is a huge book called the 12 steps of recovery. Okay, by Alcoholic Anonymous.
Right.
So this two book was written by. There is a book called the Big Book. Okay, now this big book was written by two brothers who came up with the whole notion of what a rehab the rehab we know today was made by these people. So during my time there, and after the 1 year when I joined them and I started counseling them, and when I used to try to reach into people and tell them that, brother, you are going wrong in your ways, and so it did enlighten me, and there were so many topics I knew. This underlying root cause, there's something called the addiction tree. Okay, this metaphorically, our brain is a soil, and every seed we plant in it will grow roots. Okay, and someday it will either bear those useless leaves that are no use to me. I get it. It is useful for the tree.
I understand.
But it will never bear fruits. Okay, a tree like that will not bear fruits. A tree like that would be dependent on other trees.
हिंदी में हम झाड़ कहेंगे उसे.
हाँ, झाड़ कहेंगे. तो ये झाड़ जो है, ये दूसरे पेड़ों से पोषण लेने की कोशिश करेगा. तो जैसे कि एक एडिक्ट बेसिकली एक डिपेंडेंट बच्चा ही होता है. हाँ, he is a blood sucking parasite. Okay, many people during my time there, because it was a huge chunk of time, the whole COVID time when I was counseling there, and before that fighting with the addiction and my mental health, people died, dude. Somebody I was speaking to 2 days ago suddenly goes out, relapses, dies. You know,
it scared the shit out of you, did it?
Yes, the guy died, man. Somebody used to call me beta, and suddenly he's no more. All right,
Sure.
we find out like something has happened to him and he's no more. uh, s- Somebody's addicted to sleeping pills, somebody's addicted to heroin, somebody's addicted to alcohol, somebody's a game addict who has anger management issues, somebody is schizophrenic. So I came across all these people. Living among them, you realize one thing, the stigma, that when I sit here today, 10 people would say that that might have been a very traumatic experience for this guy, right? This is the first thing that comes to your mind, that I was there, so it might have been traumatic. But it's the opposite, bro. The thing is, people are good there rather than outside. This is what I understood. Because the counselors are constantly motivating you. Though sometimes they didn't have that edge or that extra skill, but yeah, they gave their 100%. The men, the people who like that drunkard or that drug addict who just does drugs and drinks outside and creates ruckus, turns out to be a very simple minded person with
Kind-hearted
simple
person.
needs.
Oh.
Okay, right now you get to know that person in depth. You spend 24 hours with that person in one room, and there's not one person there, there are many people. Many people feel uncomfortable talking about this because people tend to think that they will judge me. But dude, you judge me for being in a place that was nice. I really don't mind. And I call it nice because that time you understand that this person who has been categorized as an addict or is a useless person outside is not a very bad person, or he does not lack any skills. As you know me, I do always try to tend to bring the best out of people by giving them motivation. I did meet many people, children. There were children below the age of 18 who had started smoking marijuana or doing drugs. And these children, some of them, they one of the guys, he knew how to do backflip. He had abs. Okay, he would do crunches continuously. One of them was a brilliant chess player. All right, this guy, like, nobody could beat him in chess. Okay, he made our own chess board out of cardboard so we can play chess. Since they were not providing one, later on they did. Hours of playing cards, but no money involved. Okay, so that time you tend to really understand no human being is fundamentally bad, or being an addict is not bad. When you say something is bad, you are stigmatizing it. Okay, like this is bad, you're stigmatizing it. Now we do in Hindu customs, we do not eat, we do not consume the meat of beef, cow.
Beef,
Yeah,
basically.
beef, we do not consume beef. So this was termed bad at some time, that now a normal Hindu wouldn't even dare to do that. Many would even think that, bro, this
It's
is something,
satanic.
it's satanic, it's against my religion. So when you, so there is this stigma right now, right? This is not a stigma, I'm just giving an example. This becomes a stigma, right? As to the person who's actually consuming beef becomes a bad person. Right. You remember the whole hue and cry with this Sadhguru and
Yeah,
everybody
yeah, I mean,
explaining as to we give marital status, and recently there was some Baba was supposed to come to Shillong and tell
yeah,
people that you don't eat beef.
right.
So whenever you label something bad, you're stigmatizing it. And this stigma alone is stopping people from seeking help, seeking their, redemption. Many, I got a call from somebody I knew. This person was a dada when I was growing up. So his bigger brother, he calls me and he tells me that so is the case. Whenever he drinks, he does these things, which is very unnatural. Can you please help me? And I'm like, okay, so you do one thing. You talk to my senior, because that time I was a counselor, but I didn't have any authority because it was always the actual psychiatrist, psychologist who had the authority. I was just a counselor because I personally have not studied psychology, but yeah, staying there I do know many things, right? Like at
So,
this,
I mean, you were a coach
yeah,
person.
yeah, at this moment I
So, you're
can,
trying to help
yeah,
others.
I can actually tell somebody what kind of a mental disease he may be going through. I which I
So,
though I
so
do
I've
not
seen
tell to,
that
yeah.
very closely.
So this person, he calls me up and tells me like so is the problem. So I tell him, okay, you talk to the counselor. Now, when the counselor she starts speaking to this person, he starts becoming dodgy. He's like, how much price will you take? Okay, this person is concerned about how much money he's going to spend on his brother. Okay, the problem with his brother is he's going to destroy his life. Spending 50,000 or 1 lakh on your brother to fix that, I do not think is a very
Yeah, you
huge
can't
amount.
compare the life with materialistic.
Materialistic, yes. So they become dodgy. Then they think like when they go, when he will be go, he'll go there. He won't behave, so they might hit
Lose the
them,
mother.
or yeah, they might, yeah. And during my years there, I did understand that some form of disciplining is required because you're dealing with a grown-up person who is addicted. You are not dealing with a child who has some anger issue problems. Okay, so yes, some form of discipline is required, but to an extent. They are not like they will, I will go there and they'll start slapping me, making me broom the floor, so that like
मतलब वो
that is,
तेरे नाम में जो दिखाता वो नहीं
वो
होता.
नहीं होता है, मतलब वहां पे जो होता है अच्छा होता है. जो हाइड में बंदा था वो तो मेरे को मतलब इतना प्यार करता था. आई टोल्ड हिम दिस एंड गेम मूवी वाज आउट एंड आई वाज देयर. ओके, एंड आई सेड कि सर, सी द थिंग इज दिस मूवीज हैव बीन कमिंग आउट सिंस आई वाज अ चाइल्ड. Okay, when I was in school, the first Iron Man came out. Now the final concluding movie is coming out. So can you please allow me to go out and watch this movie? He paid for the movie, man. He didn't even ask money from my parents. He paid for the movie and for my ticket and the other person he sent with me. That is because protocol has to be followed. I can't go alone. Okay, so he did send me to see the movie. So do you think this is a bad place?
Absolutely not. I mean, see, I get it, but there was a point that you made that you're not supposed to stigmatize something by
Yeah, calling it bad.
calling it bad. So if you don't call it bad, if we don't call addiction bad, how are we supposed to address this?
Yeah, that's where the WHO definition comes in. Okay, so
Now this is a chance to explain
yeah,
WHO.
yeah. So the WHO has described addiction as a recurring and cunning disease. Okay, one thing, it is recurring. Now today, when you say I'm going to quit smoking, you have already tasted smoking, and smoking does give you that dopamine hit that many things cannot give you. So since you are not smoking for 2 years, 2 years down the line you will think, today I'll smoke some. Okay, I'll do it, what's the use? So if all goes well, you do it only that day. Still that is an offense, it's a slip. And if all things go bad, you go back to your old patterns as to how you used to smoke. So it is recurring, it is cunning, because it is trying to destroy your life. Okay, so this is a very apt example as to what is actually happening. And then there is this whole thing, is it the addict's problem, like is it his fault? Yeah, there is a part of it, like there's a part that says that yeah, he is in fault, but this person is actually helpless. Okay, so
Why is he helpless?
he's actually helpless because addicts now, they have a mind, like they are very irritated. Okay, anger management is a very common issue I've seen. Anybody going through, like I have been diagnosed with borderline bipolar. Any alcoholic is a borderline bipolar. Any person, like at the end of the day, you will find out like the common disease here is bipolar. Maximum time it's a mood problem, because this person who's having this issue is going through a mood problem. Suddenly his mother comes and tells him that, beta, get up, you have to make money. And he, instead of saying, yes ma, it's high time I should go and get a job, would say, what, you mind your own business, I am going out with friends. Okay, so this is the issue here. समझ रहे हो कि ये आदमी किसी भी तरीके से समझ नहीं रहा है कि इसकी गलती क्या है. ठीक है, ये ज़िद्दी है, वो बाइपोलर है. ठीक है, बाइपोलर ना भी हो बट उस पर है कुछ तो भी कि यार नहीं, मैं दुनिया के हिसाब से नहीं चलूँगा. ठीक है, देन देयर वर, व्हेन आई सेड किड्स, आई really feel pity for that guy because at his age I was not doing what he's doing. Okay, but there were people who were doing that, and I do know that they didn't make much progress in life. So people are opting out early. People are leaving schools. People are leaving their jobs. People are selling body, like body as in you know, right? Like, females are selling, giving favors for that dopamine hit. And when does it happen? Because one bottle of, now I do not need want to condone drugs, but one small pet bottle of that heroin or brown sugar, it is not much but 500 rupees. Okay, but you need a sum of 500 1000 rupees every day. All right, you are a salaried person, right? You are earning, or you're doing your job right now. You were earning at a time. Right now you are doing Vigo, but at one time you were working. So this during I really forgot what was it
You're talking about the cost of heroin
Oh yes.
being 500.
So even then, would it be feasible for you to spend a sum of 1500 on a daily basis?
No, you just said 500.
No, I'm just saying 5 to 1500 is the price. Okay, anytime it fluctuates because suddenly there's a rate somewhere, there's fluctuation, because I've heard the stories. So is it feasible for you to pay that amount 500 per day? Just
Okay, just
500,
rounding
forget
it off, I think call it 1000 per day.
Yeah, 1000.
ठीक है
30,000 a month
30,000 a month.
just into addiction.
And even if you smoke 10 cigarettes a day, assuming you're smoking the normal छोटा size cigarettes जो भी मिलता है market में आपका for 100 rupees a pack, it'll come around 3,000 rupees a month.
So that's
it's like a huge amount.
Yeah, it's a huge amount. So even if we can spend 3,000, we're spending 30,000 a month without
There's a huge
income,
difference, huh?
without an income source. You tend to understand what the situation
So where
is.
does this
that is at.
selling of body thing that you're talking about, how does that come?
This was one story I heard from a heroin addict. Now what happened? Like this heroin addict. Okay, the first hit is always free when it comes to drugs.
मतलब आपको पिलाया जाता है.
Yeah, the first hit is always free. Yeah, heroin, be it cocaine, be it amphetamine,
Be it even a cigarette.
be it in the cigarette, it is the first hit is free. So this guy, he gave a free hit to some girl who eventually got addicted to heroin. Now initially
Oh God. Okay.
she did try asking money from her parents, but yeah, she couldn't find that. So since she wanted to get relief or get that hit, she started giving sexual favors to people and earning money out of that, and finally she gets the hit. Now what has she become? Is she considering her life choices? Is this person good for himself, or is he a danger to this, not a society but to himself? Herself or himself. You understand, right? Because she is choosing a profession that is
very risky, very dicey,
risky, and there will be backlash. People will not support you. This is not Singapore. You are not.
It's not about being Singapore or Thailand for that matter. It's very risky.
It's against your moral ethics, right?
Yeah.
So, which brings us down to this one point, that a addict, a proper hardcore addict, is a person who is lacking his morality.
Okay. So how do we combat that?
How do you combat that? Now, the 12 steps that I was speaking about, it was written in the big book. So the first step in itself says we accepted that we are powerless over our substance, that our lives had become unmanageable.
Correct.
Okay, so this is the first step. You have to accept the fact that your life has become unmanageable. And why has it become unmanageable? Because you have lost your moral sense.
Correct.
Okay, initially when we started drinking, we used to hide and drink, and now when we do it, we still hide and drink, but we do it appropriately on an occasion at a particular time.
Correct.
Okay, so that is the moral duty that we have. Okay, it cannot be like, Amit, let's go grab a drink, and I go to your father and like, uncle, chal ek lagate. That is just slight morality, I'm telling you. So a person who has gone morally wrong, now this person, if he has no morals, he does not believe in God, he does not believe in the norms of the society that are being put forward for him. He has an excuse for everything he has done. Okay, such people are very good at excuses. So even I used to give excuses. I wouldn't say that they are there. I myself was in the same boat once. So that's how they go about in life. So they have to be taught spiritually also. You have to give them that spiritual healing. You have to give them concepts as to understand what's happening. Okay, now during these classes they get irritated. Because as an addict, your attention span is also coming down.
Absolutely.
Okay, you are actually fidgeting for the 3 months or 4 months you are there. If you are thinking like, nah, I've done nothing wrong, you are just fidgeting for 3 to 4 months, my friend. And how stubborn this person is, he goes out and he starts smoking again, smoking, drinking, doing heroin, and a few people died. Seriously, dude, I saw them die, right? So it was a shock. I wouldn't say like I was very empathetic to these people, but yeah, it does feel bad because I have shared
The same room, the same space,
rooms, close
the same food.
proximity. Today I am a counselor, you're not, but you are no more.
I get it.
That's wrong.
Right, so that's one.
Yeah.
What is two? Looks like you got a cold.
Yeah, there's something I did send you that day. So you morality, right? Now an addict is also a person who would try to isolate himself.
No, we're talking about 12 rules, right?
Oh, the 12 rules. The first, I'm sorry, I lost track. I do tend to lose track sometimes. So the first rule is you have to accept it. Second would be to surrender yourself. Okay, to surrender yourself to a higher power. When we say higher power, I'm not talking about the counselor.
The higher power.
Yes, no. Why I'm explaining this, you'll get it. You are at a state, you are at that, normal state right now. कि नहीं, मेरे life में तो बड़ा नहीं हो रहा है. But this person is not understanding what higher power is. He believes there is no God. He has forsaken God. Okay, this is a common dialogue. भगवान, हम भगवान को नहीं मानते. ठीक है, I'm saying this in Hindi, but
yeah. I mean, I've come through a lot of addicts in life. जो है उनके लिए भगवान, मम्मी पापा मेरा भगवान है, बाकी I don't give a damn, but that's it. So I agree to your point कि yes, there is no
God,
faith in God.
So these 12 steps progress like this. Now I've told you the 2 steps.
We have come to the second one.
Now there are 12 steps. So I don't know them by heart, but the important ones are the first one, the second one. Then there is a list you have to make, okay, of people you want to say sorry to.
Okay.
That list you make it. Now you go outside, you say sorry to these people.
Okay, did you include my name there?
Did I include your name there? No, I didn't include
your
name there. You were on the list that these people gets gali from me when I go out.
Please, not on camera, dude. I was always kind to you.
Yeah, I know, bro.
So why didn't you tell me sorry?
No, but my sorries were very limited as to I had hurt my mother. I didn't on any moral grounds hurt people.
That was just
no. Yeah, but you have a valid point. Now these sorries have to come under that moral ground. Now this person, now I will explain this step to him. But before explaining this step to him, he himself has to understand कि brother, I have to say sorry. I have to make a list. Many people they just write names and they like.
I get it. मैंने ये इसलिए पूछा था क्योंकि मेरे को भी बहुत खराब लगा when you were down. Okay. मेरे जिंदगी में I've always had a very small circle of friends. तेरे को भी पता है. ठीक है, मेरा 2 ही दोस्त था. I've spent मेरा entire life नहीं बोल सकता, but entire childhood का वो around you. 2 only. ठीक है, मेरा वही था सर्कल. इसके बाद अभी इधर उधर I know people. ठीक है, मगर दोस्त अभी भी आके मैं यहीं पे चिल करता है क्योंकि मेरे को मजा आता है. वो जो कनेक्शन है, नॉस्टैल्जिया है. तुम रोमांस का बात कर रहे थे ना, मेरा ब्रोमांस सब यहीं पे है.
Yeah, so this counts as you have to make a list. Now while saying sorry, this other person may not accept your apology. There is a step which describes this, that may not accept your apology. This person, you leave him for that moment. After you've apologized fully, you will go there. But eventually you go and apologize. Now this is very theoretical, so it does not come out that way, but yeah, eventually I said sorry to my mom, said sorry to my father, said sorry to whoever I was very
See,
rude to.
I don't want to I don't want you to name us
Oh yeah,
kisko kisko sorry
yeah,
bola,
yeah,
but yeah,
So,
I understand
yeah.
it's a big thing because
Yes.
you are shattering your ego at that point in time when
Yes.
you're actually telling somebody
when-
sorry. I realize this is a mistake and I'm gonna work on that. So if you do that,
Yeah, then you become a better person.
absolutely.
Then the other steps include that you have to keep a moral inventory. Okay, now
What's a
what is
moral
a moral? Yeah, very correct.
inventory?
What is a moral inventory? Now, inventory, you understand the word, right? Inventory is a stock of things.
आजकल बिजनेस में तो सभी लोग बिजनेस कर रहे हैं, इन्वेंट्री चाहिए
Inventory चाहिए. So
उनको, and they
is
understand
a
the word
stockpile
inventory.
stockpile of raw materials that you will need to run the business. Like that, you must have some moral codes, some moral ethics, and be ready to admit it promptly to other people that you are wrong. You have to promptly admit it. And then I'll skip a few steps. When you read the 12 steps, there are 12 very elaborate steps, and eventually you have to grow spiritually. Now, addict can only be fixed when he grows spiritually, because growing like making a strong willpower or coming up with a wrong willpower needs spiritual help. It will not give you any help if I tell you the technicalities of like if you have hope in life, that will not help you. अंदर से उसको लाना पड़ता है. So it does become very tricky.
So it's basically rebuilding and restructuring, rewiring a grown-up adult.
Yeah.
So I think without faith, it becomes very difficult to shape up and restart that particular
Yes.
person. So reason why faith
And
is
yes,
important.
so the time he's spending there, he's going through a different kind of grooming. First of all, he is not allowed any addiction. So in that case, he gets that practice, that how to live without
लेकिन इसमें भी तो सेल्फ विल है ना, बिकॉज अगर तुम्हारा विल ही नहीं है, यू आर नॉट डिटरमाइंड, you'll go out and smoke
Again.
you'll do the same thing.
Yes.
Just like the way you put it, there were people who did that and some of them even died there.
Even died
So I've noticed that, and that's a big revelation. और वो लगता है दिल में, and when you are talking to me, because, since we are talking in a physical space in close proximity, I feel it. And I know you from such a long time, so when you actually speak on such terms, such situations, I get to feel it. I hope other people who may or who are seeing people who are dealing with it, I hope it reaches them, they feel it.
So if you I'll read the addiction tree for you after this.
Yeah.
You give me time. You can also put the addiction tree in this video if you want to,
Right.
at the end.
Right.
So in the addiction tree, there are many addictions that have been described. Okay, there is also a addiction of codependency. You must have seen that one friend who would like while growing up, you must have seen that one person who would come into a group and start showing off as to, I am somebody in this group, right? And in the end, he's nobody.
Yeah.
There are people, right?
Yeah,
He's a
बचपन में बहुत देखा
nobody.
है.
He's a nobody. He's just a bully or some kind of a, like.
बचपन में हमें लगता भी था कि वो बहुत सही है, मतलब बहुत खतरनाक बंदा
Yeah,
है.
but he comes into a group and he has that very this kind of person,
Flamboyance,
flamboyance, and he starts insulting you.
मेरे को लगता है ये उनका इनसिक्योरिटीज
Yeah,
है
it is
जो
there.
वहाँ वो रिफ्लेक्ट बैक करे,
it is
ताकि
there.
नोबडी
Yeah.
वो एक मैस्करेड पहना हुआ है,
Yeah.
ताकि
So
वो
this person
टूटे ना.
eventually becomes codependent on his groups. He gets dependent on that fact.
So sorry about that glitch. We ran out of batteries. We were discussing about the addiction issue. We are talking about a guy who wants to be somebody in the group, and we've
Yes.
always had that some person is always.
This is called codependency. Now he is dependent on that persona that he has created. That I am somebody, and this gives this man some power. But at the end of the day, this is unhealthy, because we know that if we uh, believe that we become somebody when we put somebody down, or we are somebody in some group, that is the wrong way of looking at things. Rather, you should try to push people up. You should try to be around more people. Like, लोग बोलते हैं ना कि सैर कर लो, घूम लो, बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलता है. जैसे कि तुम बहुत, if you just go around India, you are in trips, that Meghalaya trip, and you had a awesome experience, right? Whenever you speak about those stories, you very fond memories, that it shows in your face, right? So that's when you're not codependent on somebody. If today, after class 12th, suddenly I come to you and I say, Amit, this is the case. From tomorrow, only me and you will hang out, bro, again, because I have nobody in my life. Eventually, I'll become the toxic one, because you will realize that for me, you are sacrificing a few important things that are required at that moment. Okay, if we were in the same city and this had happened, you might have understood that you are losing out on friends. Okay, maybe it's just one chai with some other friend, but that is more important right now, because I was always there in your life, and as a friend I should understand. So that becomes codependency. Now I've opened the addiction tree in my mobile. So there are around 5 kinds of addiction, like they have been categorized, and one is feeling addiction, addiction with feeling. Now some people are the first feeling they have said is anger. You must have seen people that like to get angry, right? Like, they get angry at everything. Okay, now this person is angry and he hurts somebody's feelings, but he's so egotistical that he never realizes, और there's उसके आंखों में एक पट्टी बंधी रहती है, एक गुस्से का. So he's addicted to getting angry. Some people are addicted to getting sad. I told you about my past experience during the mental health issue and the whole addiction thing. I was self-pitying myself. So I was also this in this feeling addiction thing, feeling addiction area. Somewhere I fall. Okay, I used to fall. Right now,
You're in a better state.
I'm not in a better state. Then there is thought addiction. There is activity addiction. Activity addiction are addictions to some activity. Okay, people buy stuff they don't want. They see expensive things and they want it right there, right now.
हाँ, जैसे मेरा मूड खराब हुआ, ये go out for shopping, पूरा उठा के लेके आया things जो चाहिए भी नहीं.
But what you will do is once in a blue moon. Suddenly you say, I'll do it now. But some people do it on a daily
समझ
basis.
गया. हाँ, generally मैं वो बोल रहा
And yes, at the end of the day, it is hurting you financially, which is in turn ruining your life. So that is just not shopping. Gambling is also, which comes under this activity addiction. There's substance addiction, which is the common one, obviously. Drugs,
we spoken length about that.
And then there is the people addiction. The people addiction is the addiction that I was basically talking about. You are addicted to people. Okay,
people saying good about you.
yes, people saying good about you, having multiple. There's also
Maybe sometimes you also like people treating you badly.
yeah. There's also this thing about multiple sexual partners they have. Okay, which then falls under the category of sex addiction. Now, what is sex addiction? Today, I am a single boy. I have a physical relationship with somebody. It's a hypothetical situation.
Because you are not a boy anymore.
Yeah, oh man. So I have a physical relationship with many 2-3 people, and I'm not committed to anybody. That, my friend, may be morally wrong or something, but that is not the kind of addiction I'm talking about. This addiction, sex addiction, comes to a person who would want to have sex even after he has gotten married. Even this person, she has committed themselves to this one person. They have multiple sexual partners. Every day they want somebody new. That is a problem now. Okay, because now it's affecting the body. Now, at the end of the day, when you see this addiction thing, it becomes an addiction only when you're losing moral grounds. People will stop you, people will tell you that you are wrong only when you go wrong on moral grounds. Or else, the entire population of the world, whoever drinks or smokes, would have been sitting in rehabs. Okay, and even there also, they used to explain this very nicely. They used to say, why are they not here? Why are you the ones?
So would you still say that don't drink or smoke, or how would you put it?
I would put it like, as I have faced problems. There were times I did drink. I'm still smoking cigarettes. So, yeah, according to me, I would be a hypocrite if I say don't do it. But if a hypocrite is what that makes me, I would still say don't do it. Okay, if you can stay away from it, it will save you a lot of trauma. Because then the thing comes that you are not even morally wrong, but many people will come and tell you, yeah, you are ruining your life, this is wrong. And every day that tippani is there that you are doing something wrong with your life. And there was this point in my life also, there was this one point I also started doubting. I was like, oh, what the hell am I even doing wrong, that why are people explaining everything to me? And during those days I used to remember, even used to come and I used to get irritated by you also, because some people didn't get the way to counsel. Motivating somebody is not like waking up in the morning and you tell him, उठ जा, चल, आज चल नहा धो ले, आज से शुरू करते हैं, ठीक है, अभी करो, ठीक है, तुम अगर मतलब I tell you this, few days yesterday only I saw him, a guy is motivating somebody, they wake up early in the morning, play some game. What is depression? Depression is nothing. That kind of motivation is not motivation, my friend. Okay, that's just the other person trying to show that I know a lot of things, you please learn. Okay, motivation comes when you empathize with the person. When you empathize with a person, now why am I saying you have, like, it becomes very difficult to empathize with such people sometimes, because they are very ill mannered. Because when the time came when I was a sir, every inmate or all of those people who were there, they used to respect me. Okay, but the problem was, peeth piche there was something else. Okay, and they never understood कि यार मतलब this person is trying to, maybe he's trying to bring the better out of me. Okay, so it becomes very hard to deal with such a person. But even after that, hard as in, because you yourself, you'll be irritated, you wouldn't want to talk to him. No, somebody disrespects you, somebody shows you, tries to show you your place. Today's generation is like, we will just leave. So at that time you have to empathize with such a person who you don't quite like. But when I started empathizing with these people, when I started speaking to these people, every day I used to take class, and I used to go for those duties like distributing dal or chawal. I used to go for those duties. I used to sleep, like where they used to sleep, I used to sleep there at night. Okay, I had a quarter down, but I used to sleep there at night, since the guy who used to take responsibility at night, because there was a guy required at night who would take responsibility. If suddenly a fight breaks out, you were the one who's going to stop.
The mediator.
The mediator. So I even did that. So during those years there, I realized one thing here: the problem is not just contained to substance. This person is not just addicted to substance. There are many more factors at play here. Okay, there's one famous picture that went viral on the internet almost 2-3 years ago, and in this picture you will see a child crying. Okay, so it's a picture and the child is crying, and there are three faces in the picture, two facing each other, and the other two faces combined make a face of a child. So the ones who are facing each other are shouting at each other. One is a female, one is a male. You get the picture, right? I'm trying to paint.
Not really.
Yeah, I'll show you the picture. You put it in your video later on. That picture is very powerful. That shows that in your adolescent years, if you had that kind of small trauma, or there was the small quarrel between your parents,
that goes a long way.
that can scar that baby, man. He's not understanding anything. And some people are that. This one thing I understood, that this guy whom I'm talking about is very irritating. He doesn't respect his mother, he doesn't respect his father. Okay, now many people, like generally normally would ask him this question: why don't you like them? Okay, this person doesn't really have an explanation as to why he hates his parents. Okay, because he does not realize at what point of his life, when he did not even understand how the world was, there was trauma in his house. Okay, or a parent
This is perhaps the reason why I strongly advocate that people when you have a kid, you should not raise your voice and talk or shout about in front of that kid.
Yeah, it's
But
not
that,
required.
and I'm just not talking about. I'm just not saying to the point where you're talking to the kid, but even between two parents, no, you should not shout at each other.
Yeah.
Because that is gonna scar the kid for a lifetime.
Yes, because this kid now, this child, he thinks that my parents are actually not getting along. And when he goes to a house where everything is the opposite of what is going on in his house, he realizes that what is wrong then? My parents need saving, and he's always worrying because a kid can do nothing more than worry. We don't expect him to come and explain to me as to why this is bad for your mental health, quarreling and fighting for small things. But for him, he will always be thinking कि मम्मी पापा तो यार लड़ते हैं,
कुछ तो
उनके
प्रॉब्लम है, मैं क्या करूँ?
and
I
in
am
some,
so helpless. I can't do anything, and then you feel shit about yourself.
yes, and in some cases the husband is literally beating the woman also, and in some rare cases the other way around it's happening.
Correct, correct.
Okay, so this kind of upbringing, okay, and some kind of hidden trauma is always associated with an addict. Okay.
Right. I think that's a very valid point.
Yeah.
I think we had a very meaningful conversation. It went on deep.
Yeah.
It will keep on growing.
Yeah, this will go on and on, bro.
And I think it's just sowing its root at this moment, because I kind of feel the gravity of the conversation that we are having is escalating.
Yes.
But we are born to a time frame, and we've exceeded that by two-folds already.
Yeah.
I think I've had an amazing time talking to a dear friend of mine after such a long time. This is perhaps after our Chandni balcony days.
Yeah. That we sat
Chandni
together.
balcony days were those times when I was probably in class 11 and I had that Dilshan beard. Remember?
Yeah.
वहाँ पे बैठ के भी यही बात करते थे बहुत लंबे लंबे वक्त तक. I think I have a photograph which will be displayed somewhere here.
Okay.
Those were good days. Thank you so much for your time. It was a wonderful experience. I think you hosted me
Oh, yeah,
for this
thanks, yeah,
podcast.
no, thanks for this chance, bro. I also got to speak my mind about this particular topic, right? Nobody really, I never really expressed my full view about what this is. There's one thing I want to say before we sum it up to the people listening to this, if you are. Remember, when it comes to people, you don't have the time to meet 7.5 billion people, but the ones you meet, try to be patient. You will find out that in their words lies their trauma. Okay, if you be observant and just listen to that what that person is saying, even if he's cocky or irritating, you will get a way to get through to him and maybe help him out. Generally, the most loudest people are the most saddest. This is something that
Your observation is something
I
out
have
of your
observed.
observation.
So, and yeah, and lastly, I would just say this like in a bona fide way that if you are away from any kind of addiction, stay away from it. Do not try to,
Act cool.
act cool. It is not cool. Cool is not the thing that comes to mind
Such-
when it comes to addiction.
Such lovely words. I haven't had a better ending than this. Thank you so much, Adarsh, again.
Thank
you so much for being
Thank
with
you
us.
for having me,
And
bro.
my pleasure. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you.